Hey La Cañada, this week we are going to be introducing you to some basic ballet terminology and some jumps and traveling steps. Before we get into the full combinations, we're going to teach you some positions for the feet and arms that are going to help guide you in these full combinations. For any of you who have studied ballet prior to this point, we are going to be using the Cecchetti method, not the French or Russian schools. So let's get into it. So the first thing that we are going to talk about today are the positions of our feet. We already are familiar with first position. It's how we stand at attention. And then we are also familiar with second position, very directly well related to first position. It's just this same guy with more space in between the feet. Now we're going to introduce you today to a new position, fifth position. Fifth position looks like this. I will show you how to get to it momentarily, but I want you to first notice how both of my legs are still maintaining turnout. I'm showing you guys this on a diagonal bias, so you can see that here I'm going to separate my feet a little bit. This is fourth position. Not really going to need to know that, but anyway. Notice how both of my legs still maintain the same turnout we have here. They're just crossed over one another in this position, in fifth position. So, how we're going to get from first position to fifth position today is we are going to, from first, for right now, we're going to take our right foot to start, and tendu out, and then when we cut it back in, instead of coming back to where it started from, we're going to bring it forward so that our right heel lines up right next to our big toe. Yeah? Let's try it on the left side. We're going to tendu to the side, and then cut front. Go back. Do that a couple times. Cool. When you're familiar with that, take one. We're going to stand in fifth. We're going to take some nice pliés. And we are going to feel, as we descend, the legs continue to rotate outwards. We're going to use the term opposition again here. Earlier, when we talked about opposition, we were talking about lifting our sternum and our abdomens up out of our hips by pushing down into the floor, sort of like an up-down relationship. Now we're going side-side relationship. You should feel the insides of your thighs and just below your butt. Those are your glute medius. You should feel those muscles firing as you are doing these pliés. That means that you are engaging in turnout in this position and that you are approaching it correctly. Alright, so now we're going to be talking about the positions for our arms. Just like we have first, second, fifth for our feet, we have first, second, fifth for our arms. As we move into more complex choreo, we want to start getting into warm-ups, into basics, and across the floor combinations that really incorporate our whole body so that they can prepare us for what we're going to need to do in the show. So that being said, let's start off. Before we get into this too intensely, we need to talk about what our hands look like. Because we don't want to have beautiful, beautiful arms. Here we are set in first positions and our hands be looking like, right? totally ruins your nice line that you're creating. So we always want to make sure with our hands that there's a little bit of space between our fingers. There's a lot of outward energy in our fingers. Fingers are a little bit curved, and our thumbs are tucked in our hand, like so. Check it out, check it out. Here, top view, see my fingers are curled a little bit. We don't have like fingers fanned out. If that is something that's specified in the choreo, that will be specified in the choreo, but for our purposes today, nice, all doing the same thing. Excellent. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is first position. So first position looks like this. When you're getting set up in first position, or in any of these arm positions really, you want to make sure that you go through the shoulder isolation of Hindu before you begin. And a little refresher, that's bringing them up, rolling them all the way through. Do this a couple of times, explore this mobility, and then find the point where your shoulders are down and back, nice and relaxed. Upper body posture is still strong. And now I want you to push your hands up and keep them a little bit away from your body. This is first position. We're going to keep our hands on either side of our legs. Swing side. Cool. Second position, much like our feet, hands are going to spread out. Second position you want to approach, it's usually approached from fifth. We'll talk about that in a minute. Low fifth, medium fifth, to second position. Much like first position, we separate the hands a little bit more. You want to approach this like you were hugging a redwood tree. Redwood trees are huge. It's not like this big. It's this big. You want to use this as a vehicle to open up your chest cavity and to project upward, especially when you travel these combinations with this arm position across the floor. Cool. So we have first, we have second, and as promised, we have fifth. There are two iterations of fifth that we're going to need to know for the combos that we're going to attempt. We have low fifth, which is very similar to first, except we're bringing the hands even closer, much like this is first with the feet, this is fifth with the feet. First with hands, fifth with hands. See the connection here? Anyway, here is low fifth. Same idea. If I'm just coming from neutral, I'm going to bring my hands up and let my elbows rise naturally, but we're going to keep the hands slightly closer together now. And then middle fifth, we're just going to take these hands at waist level and bring them up to where they're about level with your rib cage. This is what it looks like from the side. It's not this, it's not right out in front of you. It's just slightly dropped. Cool. So now, let's do a little sequence really quick that moves through all of them. So we're going to come from neutral to first, come into low fifth, come into middle fifth, open to second. Going to come back, do that again. Second, middle fifth, low fifth, first.
Our right heel is making contact with those left toes, and our hands are also going to be in that low fifth position down here like Jen has described. We're going to start in a plie. So this will be the and count before we start our actual exercise, the actual sequence. We're going to plie, and the first move that we're going to do is called a changement. So a changement, we're going to change our fifth position from this right foot in front into a left foot in front, and we're going to do that using a jump. So just for now, we're going to practice that jumping motion. If you remember, we used to do our plies and our jump articulations where we would plie, and really fast we squeeze our thighs together and focus our energy up, but we're not actually leaving the ground. Same thing here. We're going to start in our fifth position and do exactly the same thing. We're going to practice what that jump is going to feel like. So I want you to do that a few times. Get that motion under your feet and memorize what that feels like you're about to jump. Now after we've done that, I want you to jump and focus on pointing your toes and straightening your legs as you reach up into the air. And land toe ball arch heel on the ground. We're going to jump, plie, straighten, plie. Just staying in this fifth position for now. Plie, jump, straighten, plie. Landing toe ball arch heel. Now you're 90% there. We're just going to add the change in the feet. So when we're up in the air in our fifth position like this, we're going to quickly change our feet, and we're going to land in a fifth position with our left foot in front, and that's called the changement. So we're down here, our plie. We're going to plie and change. Again, and straighten, land, and change. So that's our changement. Practice this a few times on your own. We want to see plie, jump, change, land, toe ball arch heel as we land into our next plie. That's going. So now that we've broken down how to perform our changement, we'll put it into our exercise for this week's jump sequence. That will be 4 changements down here, starting in the and count. So we will have plie, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. We'll end just as we started in our fifth position plie with our right foot in front. So in time that's and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. You know your changement, we're going to move on to our échappé. What's an échappé? Well, it's very, very similar to our changement in that we start in fifth position in a plie to prep ourselves with our arms just as we had them in a low fifth. And we're going to move our feet. We're going to want to move them into that fifth position with the opposite leg in front. In this case, that is our left foot. The only difference here, we're no longer moving our legs laterally, moving them horizontally and bringing them back together. So to do this, we're going to start in that fifth position, and we can move our arms and legs out into a second position. The legs are going to straighten in the air and land toe ball arch heel into a second position plie. So that will look like this. Plie, échappé. So we have our second position. We're landing toe ball arch heel. We're in a plie, and my arms out at second. Now, here's the part where we change our legs. In midair, I'm going to push up and pull my legs together, and we're going to change, bring this left foot in front into that fifth position. We're going to hit this position, which is a sauté. So my legs will be straight, and my legs will be in fifth. And then we're going to land, very important here, toe ball arch heel into a plie. We don't want to land with straight legs. We want to land bending our legs, bending our knees. So again, from this position in the échappé, we're going to land into our fifth position plie with our left foot in front again. And we can do this infinitely. So we can, from here, and échappé, change, échappé, change. Every time we do this, this is more of a half-time feel as opposed to our changements, which is and 1 and 2. We have échappé, change, échappé, change. Every time we're doing this, we're changing which foot is in front. All right, Now you know your changements, you know your échappés. Let's put this together into our jump sequence. You already know the first half of this sequence, that is starting in our changements. We have 4 of them, so that's and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So every downbeat, we're in a jump. Every and count, we're landing in a plie. So 4 and, we're in our 5th position plie, right foot in front. We're adding 2 échappés from here. So that'll be échappé, change, échappé, change. Now we're just going to repeat that series one more time. So we have and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So we have échappé, change, échappé, change. And that is your jump sequence. So there you have it. Those are our counts. I'll go ahead and add a video of myself completing this in tempo if you would like to reference that. You can even do this to music if you would like. Make it more fun for yourself. Thank you very much for putting your time and effort into learning these concepts. They're all very important and really are going to help us expand our knowledge of what we're using our bodies for in this activity and how we move. So really, really good on you. Let's see what you got.
What's going on, y'all? For this combo, we're gonna be calling it a traveling combo because you're gonna be covering a bit of distance. There are gonna be 2 variations to it. So of course, let's show you how it's done first, then we'll go into breaking it down. Let's do it. First technique we're going to break down that you're going to use for both variations is a chassé. For a few of you, we have broken this down before, but this is going to be for everybody, just breaking it down step by step so you can do a proper chassé. So the way we do it, we're going to the left. So you're just going to go ahead and get some nice open space like so. First thing I want you to start doing is taking a step out to your left into an open second, then dropping again into a plie at the same time to what we call second position plie. Nice and easy. Now remember, as we've talked about in the past for any kind of our technique videos, that for a plie, you're focusing on keeping the hips aligned here, flat back, everything going down. Your lower body is the only thing controlling any kind of motion. So that's the first part. You're starting with a second position plie, then you're gonna bring your right foot into your left, you're gonna come into a first position releve. So you're up on your toes, weights centered in towards the big toe, that way you have the greatest amount of stability here, engaging the core slightly. Now, to finish this out, you're just gonna go ahead and step out again with your left into a second position plie, like so. So now, you can do that a couple times, going back and forth between second position plie and first position releve. Down, up, down, up, down, up. And for this purpose, we're gonna be focusing on going to the left, so always starting with your left leg, bringing your right leg in, and then stepping out again with the left. Now, let's try that a little bit faster. Down, up, down, up, down, and up. Now, as you get a little bit more comfortable with how your upper body relates to how your lower body moves, then you can start to ramp it up into the technique that we're gonna call a chassé. In the translation for a chassé is going to be to chase. So what you want to eventually have be able to do is step out, have your right foot chase your left foot, like so. So the reason we broke it down into second position plie and first position releve is because every single time you come up off the ground, you should very momentarily pass through first position releve, like so. Up, down. Nice and easy. And you want to stay nice and light on the feet, and like a lot of the techniques that we covered before, you're rolling down, toe ball, arch heel, keeping yourself nice and relaxed, not trying to slam the feet down in any way like that. So now, practice that progression a few times on your own. Make sure you're comfortable with down, up, speeding up, until you can do a nice controlled chassé, and you're gonna use that for both variations. One thing I'm gonna layer on for you right now that's gonna become very, very important into differing some of the different positions, and then before we spread out into the two different variations, is our arm position. As you notice in the demonstration, my arms are in a different position than how I was teaching chassé. For that purpose, I was just showing you lower body and upper body relations. Now we're going to go ahead and layer on some more upper body responsibilities. So there are a couple different positions that you need to remember. For this one, we're going to learn one. We're going to learn the second position arms, which is just outstretched to your sides, palms facing front, fingers nice and relaxed, shoulders relaxed. The same way we come up to our horn up position, the same feeling should remain in your shoulders. You should be able to bring them up without any tension whatsoever in your shoulders, upper body, or anything like that. So notice how relaxed I am, whether it's horns up, whether it's arms in second, and anything like that. So now, once you've done the chassé progression, go ahead and add the arms to it. To your side, chassé, chassé. And just like that, you've already learned the first two counts for both variation 1 and variation 2. All right, now we're going to break down the next technique that you need to know to complete variation 1, and that's going to be a chaîné turn. In our past choreo, we've already done one, but we haven't broken it down to this extent. So let's go ahead and teach you how to do a chaîné turn properly. So there are a couple different arm positions that we've layered on for the chassé that you're going to need to know that could be very, very helpful when you're doing this. The idea with any kind of chaîné turn is that you're trying to keep your upper body stacked above your hips as your lower body spins around. Now, chaîné turn footwork could be a little bit tricky if you're not flexible on the platform. So that's going to be very, very important. When you take each step, you want to be nice and relaxed, staying lifted on the platform, keeping the heels low to the ground. Now, if you want very, very specific counts or positions for how your feet are going to be placed, your left should just open up to your left side, your right comes around nice and tight, staying on my toes on my platform, left opens up again, and that would be 1. And then you would complete and repeat that process twice through to do it any more times than that. So like if I want to do it twice, I would go left and right, and left and right, and left. And that would be twice through. And I can repeat that endlessly. So that's very simply how to do a chaîné turn. Now the point about why I demonstrated with my shoulder or my hands here, or my hands here in the demonstration like I do, the first part, these are called shoulder guides, and they help you keep your shoulders aligned and straight as you spin. That way you don't end up dipping the shoulders down, or dipping them back, or curving one in or around. Again, like a lot of our marching techniques, something that's going to be very, very important is keeping your upper body stacked over the hips from top to bottom without any fluctuation. So this could be a very, very important guide to your practice as you chaîné turn. The other reason in my demonstration, when I have my arms, we'll call this 5th position, something that's going to become important in variation 2. This will be 5th position here, when I keep them right below my rib cage, is to focus on engaging my core, keeping my center of gravity right near my core so that I can rotate at quite fast speeds without any problem. So that could be another thing that also helps you in your future practice. For variation 1, I would like to see everybody try it with the shoulder guides first, and if you're feeling experimentative, you can do it with the arms in 5th position. So now let's go ahead and put those two together. Let's actually take this down. We're going to go to the 2 chassés, and then we're going to go ahead and take that first step into the chaîné turn. So it looks something like this. We open our arms a second, we do chassé, chassé, and 1. So if you notice, my toes are already turning out to my side, my arms are getting ready to come into my shoulder guides, preparing me for that chaîné turn. So now let's go back, let's do it again, let's add in the chaîné turn. So it's variation 1, if it wasn't clear before, is 2 chassés, 2 chaîné turns, and stop. You're going to want to make sure, keep your head up nice and tall, and really focus on engaging that core, spinning around through your center, not allowing the weight to shift to the outside of your feet so you can maintain your balance. Look something like this. We have chassé, chassé, chaîné, chaîné, and stop. By the end of that, I am engaging the core ever so slightly to make sure that I can stop on a dime. Chaîné, and stop. Same thing, you want to think about, you can also squeeze the thighs together ever so slightly, really push down through those feet to make sure that you can chaîné turn with great control. And that'll take some time to get into the speed of the footwork, but I'm sure with some diligent practice, you guys can do it. For variation 2, you're going to need a new technique that's going to replace the chaîné turn. We're still going to have the 2 chassés in the beginning, like we said before, but except this time, you're going to instead replace the chaîné turns with a soutenu turn that is a ballet position that's going to require a couple things that you need to pull back your knowledge from like earlier weeks, from like week 2 when we taught tendus, from week 5 when we taught rondejambs. So those are all going to be very, very important. So for a soutenu turn, let me demonstrate it here first. There are 3 different arm positions that you're going to need to be aware of, starting with 5th position down low. So that's where you're keeping, if this was 1st position with arm to the side, this was 1st, 5th is going to be in ever so slightly in towards your hips, like so. You're going to need to start here. You're going to open up to 2nd, then you're going to come in to 5th position high. So those are going to be very, very important as you do your turn, and they're going to pair with these respective techniques. So with 5th position low, you're going to go out into a tendu. And with this, like we've mentioned, unlike what we mentioned before, we've always gone to tendu out with a straight leg. For this purpose, because you're going to spin, because you need some momentum, it's going to be okay to bend that knee down while still demonstrating great tendu technique. So make sure you guys are aware of that as you practice. So 5th position low, tendu forward, open to 2nd as we quarter rom. So like a rondejambe before, how we came forward, side, and back, we're only going front to the side, only making about a quarter turn. So that's all you need to worry about. We're going to go tendu, quarter, rom. And that's going to go together. So like so, tendu, quarter, rom. Now when you soutenu turn, which is going to be the actual part of the turning process, what you want to do is cross over with your right while bringing your arms down into 5th position high. You're going to cross over with your right a little bit more than you're used to, up onto the platforms, and turn on your platforms like so. So again, focusing on being very, very flexible with the platform. So let's start here with our rondejambe. We're going to quarter rom. We come in, cross over, turn out on the platform. Now the ending position should be 5th position, something we may not have described for you just yet. Olivia may have described it for you in her combo demonstration, but 5th position is basically you take your left foot, you take your left heel, place it right next to your right toe, and this could be inverted. You could place your right heel to your left toe, but for this purpose, we're going to end with our left heel connected to our right toe, and that's going to be very, very important. As you turn, you want to make sure you end in that position. So how you step will help you end in 5th position turnout. So now let's put those things together. For the soutenu turn first, then we'll pair it with the chassé. So for the soutenu turn, remember we're in 5th position low, tendu out, quarter rom, soutenu turn. And again, you're focusing on keeping that core nice and tight, lifting up. And something that will really help is, again, squeezing those thighs together so your center of gravity stays in one spot as opposed to shifting just because you're turning with such speed. So let's try it again. Tendu, quarter rom, soutenu. So you want to make sure you're moving with momentum and not trying to stay here as you turn. You want to continue the momentum around, focusing on pushing down to those feet once you're all the way around for that turn. So now, let's try it one more time. Tendu out, quarter rom, soutenu. Nice and easy. Now, take this as slow as you need to make sure that you understand the footwork so that you can then pair it into the traveling combo with the 2 chassés and the soutenu turn, which we're going to show you right now. This will be variation 2 of the traveling combo. One thing I'm also going to include really, really quick, just so that we have all the details of variation 2 traveling combo, is after you do your 2 chassés, unlike variation 1 where we chassé, chassé into our chaîné turn, for the variation 2 for 2 chassés soutenu turn, what you're going to do is you're going to do chassé, chassé, left into right, coming into 1st position before you go out and tendu, quarter rom. So that's just a little detail that I'm going to make sure that you guys do as well to have all the details for the combo. So now let's get into variation 2, 2 chassés, 1 soutenu turn. Let's see how it's done. have chassé, chassé, first, tendu, quarter one, soutenu. Cool. And just like that, you now know both variation 1, variation 2 of the first traveling combo. Of course, I know a lot of these are out of our wheelhouse. We're really trying to push the barriers, trying to push you out of your comfort zone and make sure that you have what you need so that we can really start to expand our vocabulary as far as visuals, as far as choreography, as far as dance work goes. So being able to refine yourself enough to do both marching style and dance work style is going to be very, very important to our visual performance. So practice this as mindfully as you need. As always, feel free to ask us for help, ask us any questions, sign up for visual sectionals if you need, that way we can work on it with you. And I can't wait to see what you guys can do with some of these dance work. Let's do it.
Hey everyone! We have reached the last traveling combination we will be showing you in this week's ballet video. This combination introduces us to some new techniques as well as putting a bunch of old techniques that we're already familiar with together to create a really cool traveling sequence. So let's get into it. This traveling combo can be divided up into 4 distinct movements: tombe, pas de bourrée, glissade, and pas de chat. These are all French words. I don't expect most of you to know what they mean, but no worries, we will get to explaining that real soon. So it really doesn't matter which side we start on per se. We do want to keep our legs organized as the leg that is leading us in the direction of travel and the leg that is following. That's going to be super important. But you can start this on either side, and I would actually encourage you to practice this on both sides for this week's video assignment. So the first component of this combination is the tombe. This is super duper simple. We are going to start off with our left leg as the direction of travel leading leg. We're going to start from first position. First position with the feet and low fifth with the arms. And what a tombe is we're going to brush our foot out as if we were doing a dégagé. Then we're going to land toe ball heel into a lunge. Now with the arms we're going to, just like we did in the earlier exercise in this video, our arms are going to come up as we dégagé and brush to middle fifth, and then open to second as we land toe ball heel in this position. And that's the first point of this combination. The next part of the combo is the pas de bourrée. And what that looks like, pas de bourrée is a 3-count step used to switch crossing directions with the feet or to establish a new crossing direction for your 5th position. This will make sense why we need to do this in a minute when we get to the glissade. But first, the pas de bourrée. So, I want you to, before we get into the step in context, let's look at it like this. Let's take a really small second. We're going to go into releve, and we're going to take the leg that is opposite the direction of travel leg, the trailing leg, and we're going to go back, closing to 5th here. And we're going to take the leg that is leading in the direction of travel, open, then take the trailing leg, front. So, if we were going back the opposite direction, we would go back, side, front. Here it is again. Releve, back, side, front. So, in context, coming from the tombe, here we are. Whoop. We are going to push up into releve and go back, side, front. And that is the first half of this combination. Arms are going to stay the same, going to stay in second. So all of that together is going to be tombe, pas de bourrée. So now, picking up from where we left off, we move into the glissade. Before we approach the glissade, we have to prepare for it. The glissade is a jump-like traveling step. It's not technically a jump, but it does involve tearing one foot off of the floor and landing on the other. That's what it looks like in slow motion. So, to prepare for that, we've done, so far, Combe, Pronable, we're here. In Releve, we're going to plie and fifth. Plie and fifth. And then we're going to take the leg that is going in the direction of travel, and we're going to dégagé it straight. Now we're going to push off from the standing leg at this point, which is the trailing leg, and we are going to create this same shape mirrored in the opposite leg. So we're going to push off, dégagé, straight leg, and straighten the other leg. See how that works? We'll plie, it's going to go 1, 2, and we're going to land in the same crossing in a plie as we did before. So, we're here. We finished our pas de bourrée. As we plie to prepare for the glissade, our arms are going to move from second into low fifth. Then from there, it's direction of travel, trailing leg, back to the same crossing over, and we are ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so now we move on to the final move in this traveling combination, the pas de chat, or step of the cat. This traveling step operates very similarly to the glissade in that we are pushing laterally. There's movement to one side from the standing leg. Instead of just going straight up, it's pushing out. Yeah? So, how we are going to achieve the pas de chat is we are going to front leg, push sort of up and over, like we just talked about, and as we do that, the back leg is going to come up into the passe shape. Whoop! Slow motion, my foot didn't leave the ground. Then, when the back leg comes from the passe back down to the ground, we're going to bring the front leg into a passe as well. Land that, toe ball heel, in a plie, come back up. Kind of hard to do it in slow motion. So here we are, just finished the glissade. Pushing my weight off the front leg, we're going to go back passe, front passe, and then land in a plie, straighten out. One more time. Back passe, front passe, straighten out. So the back half of the combination is going to look like, from the end of our pas de bourrée, we're going to have plie, glissade, pas de chat. Really similar, yeah? Those last two movements are very well related to each other. They're just dealing with different leg shapes as they travel across. That should be enough. Oh, and arms stay in low fifth for both of those. If you couldn't tell, here's one more time. Glissade, pas de chat, and we're ready to do it again. Tombe. Cool. I'll show you the whole thing in context, and then you can try it out for yourself.